Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading room. I had to think about that for a second. All right, so the NASDAQ took a pretty substantial nosedive yesterday. And you can see here through the overnight session on the Eagle Trend Trader, we got a little bit of a rally up, and this has kind of developed into a larger trading zone. This is where the market bounced to yesterday after finally bottoming out near 62.80, took a little bit of a rally up to the 63.40 mark, and that range has trapped the market. So they rallied back up there through the overnight, and now they are kind of stuck. So we'll see whether the overnight trend is going to continue, or if in fact the market is going to try to fill that little bit of an overnight gap, if they're going to stay within this larger trading range. Here the Hawk micro scalper has already produced a first micro macro cross signal, and the Falcon right on the open giving us a trend change signal as well. So at least a couple of our tools looking fairly bearish already. The Eagle Trend Trader still bullish. The Raptor a little undecided at the moment. We have drifted back into the hard edge, where we anticipate some sort of reaction, and we'll see whether or not the buyers can muster the market from here. Otherwise, we're probably going to see it roll over as well. All right, so here's the hard edge bounce signal now on the Raptor. Kind of developing at the same time, the Eagle is producing its first in-sync signal of the morning. Oh, and it looks like we're getting some half-decent follow-through from that. Wow, look at her go. The NASDAQ may actually have a little catching up to do, because it was the only one of the stock indices that was decisively bearish. The Russell, the E-mini, the Dow, they all kind of held their own yesterday. Hey, way to go, Mark. Mark getting a little early trading done. Let's take a look here. He said he took advantage of the see, good morning. Eric was up early again this morning and took the Falcon trend change signal. That would have been around 5:20 your time. So that's this guy right here. Picked up 550 on 4 cars, maybe done for the day depending on what presents. Well done. There's always a lot of activity about an hour before the market opens. In fact, if you take a look at your overnight trading, you'll see that, well, yesterday was a little bit of an exception. It was in a rally since the London Open, but a lot of times the vast majority of the trading is going to come within that last hour of the overnight, an hour before the North American Open. And that's because a lot of times there's some reports that come out at that time. A little market information, people doing some early positioning. And the volume was actually pretty good too. Anthony is bearish today. Anthony, 6,100. That's a very ambitious target, Anthony. I'm not sure we're going to see that today. Hey, way to go, Keith. Keith knocking it out of the park this morning, picking up $780. That's fantastic. Good job, Keith. Keith says, I'm done. I would be too. Okay, so we're waffling here a little bit, which is what you expect when the market is in a little bit of a sideways mode. All right, so we're looking a little bit more bearish. I think we're still, given this rally up and this quick move lower, I would start to interpret this as the market is going to be staying in this little bit of a sideways range. So we've had, well, this short signal, this first micro macro cross here didn't pan out. And that was right on the open. It's unrealistic to believe that your stops would have been way up here. So this trade actually would have reversed on you, stopped you out. Then you got a first micro macro cross higher. Signals like this are part of the reason I'm a little bit of a chicken right out of the open. I know guys like Mark and Keith are doing very well. In fact, Mark even comments here, I've noticed that over the last several months, I like getting a head start, or maybe that's being done early, as it may be with those early traders. For me, I like to kind of see the market level out a little bit first. Yeah, Anthony says sideways. I can agree with that. 6,100 to 58, the overall target. And Anthony also makes a comment here that the fourth quarter, of course, coming to an end in about a month's time, effectively 2 weeks because of the Christmas holiday. But all right, here we've got a macro pullback and also something resembling a 4-arrow consolidation. It's not quite a 4-arrow consolidation, but it's close. If you can risk it to the crest here in the macro line, that would be the way to go. And I think I'm going to try to run this one out because the market is looking a little brisk this morning. And there's a chance we could get back down near 6,300, which would be closer to the bottom end of the trading channel. The Falcon already turning over here a little bit. And the Raptor working on a possible trend change signal. That's the cloud crossover. That's the #1 signal that we would be looking for. So the clouds now crossing, the market retreating into the clouds. And we're going to look to see whether the clouds can now push the market back out. Oops, getting a little bit of a rally now. Might have been a little too quick on that. Yeah, some kudos here for Keith. Mark comments, nice work, Keith. Keith's been doing well lately. Good to hear someone else finding some consistency. Absolutely. And as you guys have discovered, it's not the frequency of your trading, but rather finding those opportunities, those gems where you can go in a little heavier and really just pick and choose your battles. All right, well, the Raptor, I was going to say a little bit more neutral now, but maybe not. Ooh, now we're getting a little bit of a cloud crossover to the upside, so a very mixed market here this morning. This right in the middle of the morning trading range as well. Signals that kind of develop in the middle tend to be a little bit more difficult just because the market sometimes a little bit more neutral. But certainly the buyer's not letting go. Not yet anyway. Hey, way to go, Mark. Mark says I couldn't resist. Took the late filter entry to the upside and got another 250. Might be time to stop. Well, that's two trades for you. I know sometimes you'll find a third, but it's a pretty nice profit so far. All right, getting a little bit of a sideways mess going on. Except for the quick spike up and the large move lower, we haven't really seen the market go anywhere this morning. yesterday we had at least a lot of volume come through the market, but this morning it's a little bit light. Oh, come on. All right, they're just kind of waffling here a little bit. Possibly going to get a trend change here to the short side. That would be near the bottom end of the trading range. Okay, this current low here may end up being a test of the extreme, in this case the low. This high here may end up being the test of the extreme here. So really a neutral market at the moment. All right, we'll just put that on the shelf for now. Oh yes, my hawk trade, which still kind of hanging in on that one. Ooh, baby, come on. Well, I was hoping for more volatility. As they say, be careful what you wish for. Ouch. Well, I dug myself a little bit of a hole there. All right, well, the buyers, looks like they're not done. I'd have to agree here with Mark's comment. If you can spot the right trades and not hesitate or second guess yourself, some days are just that easy. And it can be a tricky combination to get to for sure. But having worked with traders over the years, you're definitely correct that the hesitation is very often a killer. Just take the trade. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, well, that's trading. And try it again. and I think I would add to that patience. I think that's part of waiting or spotting the right trade. Is having the patience to wait for it. Which very often is easier said than done. All right, so here we are, getting a little bit of a bearish press again. So I'll take a look at a shorting opportunity if we can get it. It does appear that after the early consolidation, and the range is higher and lower, that in fact the buyers, or pardon me, the sellers might be a little bit stronger. We're back toward the bottom end of the trading range, which admittedly is a little bit of a tricky area to try to get in. The clouds have crossed again to the short side. There's an itty bitty pullback here. Okay, it's getting a little bit bigger, which is going to make it a little more convincing number one signal, a cloud crossover signal, if we get it. All right, the market's unfolding a little bit quick, so I'm just gonna get ready here on the sell button in case I get that number one signal to print. There it is, and it's engaged. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my stop a little bit. After this trade, I'm going to show you how you can change your default stop value so it's not quite so tight for those times that you just end up punching into a trade, as I did here. The best stop for this trade, by the way, is actually above this swing high right here. Hopefully they're not going to get that close. Sideways days like this, by the way, are to be anticipated after a rather large rally day. Oh, are you really going to make me move my stop up here? All right, there we go. So yesterday was a pretty strong day to the short side. Where is it? There we go. And very often, strong days, either higher or lower, are followed by consolidation days. So you see here we had a big rally up, and then the next few days were a little bit sideways. Rally up, next day sideways. Rally down, next day sideways. Rally down, next couple of days sideways. When a trend is really getting traction, you can tell because you'll have at least 2, sometimes 3 rally days in a row. When this kind of thing happens, that's the market tipping you off to which way it's going next. So you can see it happened here. We had actually 4 strong rally days. Here we had a couple, and even though the market reset itself a little bit, it confirmed it about a week later. So even though it took a very long time to pick up that rally again, you still had a good indication of which way the market was prepared to go. So if you're referencing your longer term charts for a bias on the day, this is a good way to do it. So if you see something like this, where you see the market string a few days together, then you know that's the direction I want to be trading. I want to be prepared to be bullish, or if we get a few bearish days here in a row, the market is going to hit a consolidation skid for sure, but you'll know to be more bearish than bullish. You can see there was a big blow off in volume yesterday. And today's volume, nowhere close to that. In fact, today's volume so far, just in line with this day right here. Oh, and the chop continues. Slightly more bearish, but not by much. These lows are all holding at more or less the same price level. Here on the primary resistance line. The lows are printing a little bit lower, so that's encouraging for the short. Yeah, I don't know. Anthony says we're finally falling down. Maybe. These sideways markets are tough. Yeah, Anthony says I like the candlesticks better than the mean Renko bars. The thing with the mean Renko bars, it's essentially a range style bar, right? So it will only print when the market has actually moved the pre-described number of ticks. The nice thing about that is it makes it very plain to see where the support and resistance levels are. And what I mean by that is it's going to be more obvious when I show you, say like a 5-minute chart. So here's your 5-minute on the NASDAQ. It's still pretty obvious the market is consolidating, which is what we get as well. However, for the immediate short term, you know, the 5 minutes are all blended into this one bar back here, and yet, I don't know, I think the mean Renkos may paint a little bit more information in there. But, you know, everybody has their own preference. That's the thing about trading. It's a very personal thing. the sideways trading continues. Markets actually, well, I don't know. I was going to say we might see a little bit of a recovery from yesterday's decline. It's really too neutral at the moment to call it one way or the other. That's why we're getting all these signals with no follow through as well. The context is just telling you, no, we're kind of stuck sideways here at the moment. Well, it's that kind of day. We saw this on the 5-minute chart as well, that it was just the ranges, they're just trading over top each other. Not too much we can do with it until they choose to get outside of that range, I'm afraid. Right now we're pretty bullish. Let's take a look here. Frank says, what is the trade forecaster showing? Well, the trade forecaster says we are in trend mode, but we're winding down from trend mode into swing mode. Well, it might have had, well, I should have looked earlier. I don't know how long we've been in trend mode. It may have just been this last little leg up. Don't forget, trend mode, while very often these kinds of things will happen when the market is in trend mode tends to suggest that the market's going to have fewer pullbacks. And therefore you can usually try to extend your profit target, maybe get by with a tighter stop. That hasn't really been the case here this morning, where we're really just stuck in this sideways trading range right now. All that action early, and now we're just running flat. Anthony says, can we take a look at the Aussie dollar? Just a moment, I will pull that up for you. So here's the Australian dollar the last few days. Let me get a couple more days loaded there. But it's looking maybe slightly bearish. Well, we're waiting on, there we go. So, ooh, I should probably put the Aussie dollar on the faster chart. You can see if you open up your chart and it looks like this, where your daybreak lines are so close together, this is telling you that the default 8-tick brick is probably too large and you're going to have to scale it down. But right now, the Aussie dollar in a little bit of a downtrend, produced a hard edge bounce here. And this current little pullback does resemble a little bit of a bear flag. But we're bouncing off of the lows here, so it may turn out to be a double bottom. Anthony says I'm looking at 74.90. I'm bearish on the Aussie dollar as well. Peter writes, good morning, Eric. Well, good morning, Peter. On days like this, if this were summer, I'd be booking a tea time. Yesterday, made $900 on an early morning trade, stuck around to do 2 more trades, counter trend, lost 400. Stuck to my plan, no more than 3 trades. You have to know when to fold them. So it still walked with 550 profit. Well done. Yeah, those counter trend trades, they are so inviting. And they don't work out that often. What makes counter trend trading so exciting is, you know, moves like this. You pick up a counter trend signal and you look at it and you say, oh, wow, look at that big rally up. But of course, that doesn't happen as often as you would like it to. Having to do some serious nursing on this trade. Speaking of counter trend trades, this one's actually probably more reliable because it's at the top end of the trading range. And I think I can say with some confidence that we are in a trading range here this morning. One thing about the increased volatility as well is that kind of suggests that we're going to see a trend change, or at least a move of some sort. Bigger moves start to develop when the markets get more volatile. May not always be right on the direction, but at least there will be a move of some sort. Speaking of which, has anyone looked at the Bitcoin contract? Do we even... I'm not sure I get that in my data assortment. Yeah, I'm wondering. I thought it was on the CME. Mark says, is it on the CME? Let me see here. Bitcoin contract. Okay, it's on the NASDAQ, it says. Oh, 2018. All right, there it is on the CME. BRR is supposed to be the symbol. All right, so, well, we'll see now whether the sellers can push the market lower again. The reason I'm bearish is the bigger trend, the bigger range from yesterday. Right, we identified this whole zone down here as a little bit of a sideways trading range. And we had our further intraday range develop like this. And we know that selling tends to occur at the top end of a trading range. Might have been a little bit generous. There we go. Kind of that top third is where the sellers are going to get interested in shorting. And then the bottom third, or bottom quarter, bottom third, is where the buyers are going to be most interested in buying. So this is what my plan has been this morning, to sell and see whether the market's going to try to get to the bottom end of yesterday's trading range. So far, though, no luck. at me here in a second. As they test the top end of the trading range, yep. All right, well, it just kind of further confirms the sideways nature of the market here this morning. Yeah, overall, it's just a bit of a mess right now. And here come the buyers again. Yes, BRR is the symbol, I think the symbol for Bitcoin. I was just looking it up here. It was Bitcoin reference rate is what I think it stands for. Yeah, Anthony, it's the Bitcoin on the futures. Um, I know very little about it. I haven't really investigated it yet. Obviously, a simple Google search will fill you in. If you're looking for volatility, though, from what I understand, there's plenty of it there. That's why I was interested in taking a look at it. But I don't think I have it in my data assortment. Of course, it's making all the news now because it's a new contract, and I guess it's getting some traction. People are actually trading it. All right, so here's another selling opportunity. This now off of the highs of the morning, which could be interesting. This is the number 2 signal, the soft edge sell. And off of the high of the day, we may actually see the market trying to drift a little bit lower, at least to the hard edge, which is or would be the immediate target. Again, just looking at the context of the chart, however, we're really stuck right now. No, not getting any follow through on that either. Just turning out to be one of those days, for me anyway. Yeah, there we go. So we're kind of poking our head out of the trading range a little bit now. Just doing a little bit of housekeeping. All right, so now that we've traded outside of the trading range, this being the trading range like this, we're going to look for a little bit of a pullback. And then we'll see whether or not the market can support the new direction. Trade forecaster says we are in swing mode and about to move into scalp mode. The market may have actually been ahead of the curve a little bit here. Shoot, everything is starting to get mixed up again. Just when I thought I had the direction pegged, now we're back into yellow bars. The filter is off here, or pardon me, the trend line is off on the Falcon. Yeah, you're probably right, Anthony. Anthony says we've got an FOMC report out today that would certainly account for some of what's going on here. Okay, we got a quick little trend change signal here on the Falcon and yet another number 2 signal here on the Raptor. This one's giving us a chance at a second push entry. The second push simply means you allow the signal to engage, and then you see where it reacts. So what I'm looking to do is try to re-enter on some renewed momentum. Julian says there's huge buy orders sitting at 52, and it looks like those got picked up. This buy signal that's developing is actually going to be also a number 3 signal. So you could bracket this trade if you chose. You could do an OCO order, and you could look to buy above. So you would buy, and you could sell. Didn't get a chance to sell that. But this is the hard edge bounce. We're into the hard edge. The market encounters the hard edge, comes out, produces a signal. The other half of the OCO order would have been to short below here. And now that the trade is underway, I should get a stop in play. The better stop, by the way, is down here. Let's hold this. So this would be, normally I look to put a stop 2 swings back, so this would be swing number 1. And somewhere around here would be swing number 2. We'll see if we actually get any follow through on this signal. Anthony asks, can you check out the weekly NASDAQ? Well, my NinjaTrader data feed, my current data feed, is very limited in data. It only goes back a little more than a year. But for the last year or so, the NASDAQ's been pretty much in a rally mode. I have to change data feeds to get a more complete chart than that. I know, it makes no sense, but that's just how it is. This current little formation may turn out to be a bull flag. Oopsie. And so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a breakout above this trend line here, and that will kind of confirm the bullishness. Gab Frank says, looks like lower highs and a set bottom at 50 or 63.50, possible triangle. I think that's, what we've been seeing all morning here is the market just consolidating and not really giving us much follow through one way or the other. Okay, now another hard edge bounce. Notice this one did not trigger because we were just a tick shy of the hard edge, but visually it's still there. Come on, let's go. All right, another number 3 signal. Come on, let's actually get some follow through here. Well, they just keep holding up at that resistance line. I thought for sure we were going to see them rally through this time. Starting to spend a little bit more time going sideways again, which is not what you want to see when you're already in a long position, because it's telling me that there's not that much follow through from the buyers right now. No, they're not going to follow through on this one either. Oh well. I think it's going to remain kind of a choppy day like this for probably the remainder of the session. As I showed you earlier, a lot of times we get those kinds of consolidating days after a rally day. Tomorrow might open up a little bit again. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. You can see the volume still very, very light given what we have seen, especially yesterday. We'll hang with it for a few minutes longer, but I don't think we're going to see too much more here today. Everything's just gone sideways again. All right, gang, I think we're going to button up shop here for the morning. Well, I guess we'll do it again tomorrow. Hopefully things will smooth out a little bit. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.